Okay, hello Hannover. Absolute pleasure to be here today. What we're going to be talking about is Ansys Gateway and our great collaboration between Ansys, AWS, and we have a fantastic customer case study here as well. So, a bit of an introduction. So if you don't know who Ansys are the #1 engineering simulation company. If you think of design, you think about making products, we do that through simulation. We replace the need for physical prototyping by running structural simulations, CFD simulations, and all of that generates a huge amount of computation, which is why we partnered with AWS to be able to have the platform to solve it. I'm John Baker. I'm the Cloud Business Development Manager at Ansys, and I support all of our customers on their journey to running Ansys in the cloud. And I'm here with Jean-François of ACWA Robotics.
Hello, John. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm Jean-François Guidardoni, and I'm a co-founder and managing director of ACWA Robotics that John's explained a little bit about, and we'll be giving you more details about what is this weird thing we do with robots and water pipelines.
Okay, so we'll kick off with a bit of a video to show you some background and some insight into the great work that ACWA Robotics are doing with Ansys and AWS.
We are building autonomous robotic solutions. They are aimed at helping water utilities improve the performance of the water supply networks. I'm Jean-François Guidardoni. I'm one of the co-founder and business development director at ACWA Robotics. What we've built at ACWA Robotics is the first autonomous solution, robotic solution, that's able to evolve in a network, in a water supply network in operation.
To do it the best way, we have to use the best tools to help us. My name is Robin. I'm working in ACWA Robotics for 2 years now, and I am a mechanical engineer. We are transferring this 3D model on Ansys tools, beginning with Ansys Discovery. We are building the 3D that will go through the simulations. We are cleaning it, making it a little bit usable in terms of simulations. And then we take this file, we send it to Ansys Fluent into the cloud with the help of Ansys Gateway, powered by AWS, because we are able to run the simulations directly on the cloud. We didn't have to buy EV stuff like EV hardware to run simulations. We are just using a virtual machine into the cloud in AWS, and we are able to run EV simulations, CFD simulations.
What we do with Ansys simulation is reducing the time we are taking for testing by reducing the number of physical tests and improving them. Cloud computing is a must-have. We wouldn't be probably able to use Ansys, or it would be very complicated if we didn't have the cloud computing approach, because it gives us a reduction of the economies of scale.
We are able to run all the simulations we want because we don't really have limits in the cloud, because we have all the power we need. We just have to launch a bigger virtual machine if we need a bigger one. There is no limit. All of these elements put together allows us to have a complete access to powerful software that leads us to optimizing our robot and being able to better understand its behavior.
We are going to send this robot inside, the water supply networks of our customers. So there's a lot of trust element there. And for trust, you need resilience and security, safety. And what the testing and the simulation brings us is an additional layer of resilience and safety, making sure we really reduce to a minimum the risk of failure inside the mission. And for us, having some failure in the first missions with the customers would make it extremely difficult to go back to them. So it's essential that we achieve that.
Oh,
There we go.
That works again. Okay, good. I'm going to lower down because otherwise the whole crowd out there is going to hear.
Day 4 of a conference and my throat is not what it was on day 1, so I'm glad I'm not shouting. So thank you. So that was a video where we just talked a bit about the problem and how Ansys and AWS are coming to find a solution to that problem. Because with simulation, it's incredibly powerful. But what it generates is a huge amount of computation. We're doing physics here. And what do you need to solve that computation? A lot of computers. So what we're going to talk about specifically here is how ACWA Robotics leveraged the Ansys Startup Program, which is our program for startups to get access to Ansys software, and in conjunction with that, the AWS Activate program, which enables startups to be able to get access to AWS for their simulations. So we're going to focus on that today. And in particular, we have a platform at Ansys called Ansys Gateway. I'll explain a bit more later what that is. But this is the platform that ACWA Robotics leveraged to be able to get access to HPC resources in AWS in a really easy way. So Jean-François, please describe the challenges your company is facing with engineering simulation.
Okay, all right. Just to start with, to give you a little bit of background about what we do, because this is where it starts in terms of what the challenges are, is ACWA deals with a very specific problem which is linked to water supply networks. Water supply networks around the world, they lose about 20 to 40% of the water they are transporting, which seems like always daunting and surprising to people, but that's actually the reality. And one of the key issues of those networks is that they're old, basically. They are on average, if you look at North America, Europe, Asia, they are 50 to 60-year-old on average, so you get like very old pipes when you get to the extreme limits. And they are getting more and more damaged, basically. And that's where they are losing water. And 98% of those pipes are buried. And they were installed some time ago. So it's very difficult and very expensive for people to look for them and renew them. And the first thing they want to know is, where should I renew? And they want an answer to that question, as they don't have it, because there is currently no tools that's able to bring them data, enable them to say, okay, this year I'm going to renew in that area, and this year is going to be, in the second year it's going to be here and there. And it's very difficult to collect that data, because you have a working network that is pushing pressures up to 300 psi, pushing water flows up to 2 meters per second, and that they can't really stop, basically. If you want to go and collect data in there, you got to intervene while the network is working. And it's exactly the challenge that with ACWA we've taken, is to go inside that working network with a smart device, an autonomous device, because the only device that can go in there is autonomous. You cannot really communicate with the outside, and run for a few kilometers and collect data. And then pick up the machine back from the mission, collect those data. Those data will be, are there leaks, obviously, but also is there rust on your pipe? Are there ovalization? The pipe is flattening. There's plenty of type of damages you can collect there. So from what I'm describing there, you can see that we are dealing with a very constrained and complicated environment. And this is where the topic of simulation comes in, basically, because when you launch a robot like this, you can't just test with your customers and say, well, that's a beta test, and we'll come back and we'll try again. If you fail once, it's very complicated to go back. You need to go there with resilience. That means you need to have done a lot of pre-testing. And you can imagine that, putting heavy metal pipes, we deal with fairly large pipes, installing them, sending water with flow and pressure in there, it's very expensive, it's very time consuming. So the more we can virtualize those kind of testing, the better we are. And this is where exactly we've started discussing with Ansys.
Yeah, perfect. So Jean-François, your challenge, what you need to do with your robot is incredibly complex. And it's really important for the water system that there is a robot that you design that can solve the challenge they're facing. But so what is the engineering solution you're using with Ansys to help design or help make the product a reality?
Well, there's two parts to it. One part is really about testing how the robot behaves into the fluids, basically, because we cannot disrupt too much this water supply network. One of the key constraints is how much impact you're going to have on the network while you're running a mission. because people still need to have running water on their tap. So you can't reduce, you can't kill the pressure, you can't kill the flow. And obviously, if we need to test that on a real physical hydraulic environment, it's very complicated. So what we do with Ansys is we're really starting running simulations with the fluids and how we are impacting the fluids. So it's both for the impact on the network itself, and it's both for the robot also. Yep. In terms of optimizing the robot, you know, how fast it can travel, because it's autonomous, we have an autonomy of energy topic. So we need it to be really optimized in terms of flowing inside the network and evolving inside the network. Yep. And also in terms of how much loss of charge of water you're going to create when you bring that in. Yep. So this is the key thing. And the way we've done it is also using the cloud-based version. We are a startup. We don't have a lot of money. We have more money than we used to have 3 or 4 years ago because we started, you know, having the trust of some investors, thank God. But still, you know, we need to really optimize time and money. And we also have an unknown. That means when we started doing those simulations, we didn't really know how much simulation are we going to need. You know, we start doing the first one. They say, okay, that's good. Maybe that's enough. But then say, oh no, but when we need to test this, we need to test that. We were getting into the unknown, like a lot of startups are going. Yep. So obviously, we were not going to decide. We're going to buy like, you know, huge servers and then run everything on there and invest like tens of thousands of euro or 100,000 to run simulation. So obviously, the on-demand approach is essential for us. We wouldn't have worked with that approach if we wouldn't have like started with an on-demand where we could really size the usage to what we are doing. Obviously, we're increasing the use now, but you know that was not something that was certain like 6 months ago.
Thank you, Jean-François. So the cloud, so AWS combined with Ansys, really helped your organization achieve your goals, and you have the first version of your Pathfinder on the booth?
Exactly, yeah. We've got the model, the real size model that's on the booth, and I'll be happy to explain because we get a lot of questions of you can see it here, you know. So how does it move? You know, how does it avoid this or that? And so happy to answer the questions.
Thank you, Jean-François. It's an amazing robot. So we have it on the Ansys booth, Hall 16. Hall 17.
Hall 17, D16.
Ansys, okay.
I know your booth better than you,
You
John.
know
This
my
is
booth
not
better
good.
than me. Oh, that's a shame. I'm shameful. So yeah, thank you, Jean-François. So Jean-François ran in AWS using our kind of easy button, so to speak. We have a platform called Ansys Gateway powered by AWS, and this enabled ACWA Robotics to easily bridge the gap between running on-premise, running on their laptops, to running on the cloud inside AWS. We have this platform that makes it really easy to deploy HPC clusters, desktop, storage inside your own AWS account. Oh, sorry, there's some quotes here. So Jean-François, you've given a quote. And
again, me
Robin,
again, sorry.
Yeah. So on to Ansys Gateway. So at Ansys, we like to know where our customers' pain points are, because once we know the pain points, we can solve them. We ran a study, 54% of engineers are reporting that their biggest business challenge is to reduce their design cycle times. Simulations are getting bigger, simulations are getting more complex, and that's leading to a huge amount of computational demand. And how do we get that demand? Well, what a really great way is through the cloud and with our great partners like AWS. We know that engineers are constrained by access to hardware. 78% of engineers report that they're making approximations, simplifications with their model because they don't have access to cloud resources. Jean-François is in the cloud. Jean-François can build any machine he wants. He can have a 10,000 core cluster to design the robot, run thousands of simulations because he hasn't got the hardware barrier you have when you're running on workstations or laptops. So what the cloud provides, I've talked about, is capacity. But that's only one part of the story. Your computational demand, your simulation demand, is never flat. You're never running a constant amount of projects all year. sometimes if you've got a project and you need your product released, you've got a huge demand for simulation. And that's where the cloud comes in, because you can elastically grow your computational clusters, your available capacity immediately. So that's it. You match your computational demand to computational requirements with the cloud. But getting into the cloud can be difficult, especially for HPC, for engineering simulation. There are many ways to do it. What we have released is Ansys Gateway, powered by AWS, which is based on our strong collaboration and partnership between Ansys and AWS. Ansys, we do engineering simulation. We know how to run CFD, FEA, electronic simulations, and many more on HPC clusters. That's our specialty. AWS have leading HPC hardware, from the machine types to the file systems to the networks. AWS has the ecosystem for compute that we can leverage. And this partnership we have between Ansys and AWS, we've extended to produce Ansys Gateway. So why Ansys Gateway? Well, we can break it down into four things. So Ansys Gateway comes with our Ansys application library. So this platform enables you to build up your Fluent clusters, your mechanical clusters, and you pull in these applications of optimized, stable applications in a few clicks. If you want to create a 10,000 core Fluent cluster, you can do that. And you know it's going to work, and you know it's going to work well. It's going to be fast. Control. On the Ansys Gateway platform, you have access, you can break down the platform into regions called project spaces. You can assign budgets to these project spaces, user access controls, because control of your HPC or your simulation environment is critical. And deployment. Building HPC clusters used to be for experts. Experts know how to deploy HPC clusters, but they are few and far between. You do not need expertise in HPC to build HPC clusters here. We guide you through the process of building many node, 1,000 core clusters. You don't have to have the experience. You just know you want to have a Fluent cluster which can solve your biggest engineering challenges, and we make it really easy in Ansys Gateway. And finally, cost. So cost is important. Cost is often a key driving factor for cloud, and we have made Ansys Gateway incredibly low cost. In fact, Ansys Gateway is free to deploy. It is free to bring users into the platform. You'd pay for your consumption as if you were creating machines in AWS, because this is bring your own cloud. So you create an HPC cluster of 10 nodes, you just pay the AWS price for those 10 nodes. And then there's a small uplift of 25 cents per machine per hour to get the benefits, all the benefits here you see in the platform. And of course, you bring your own licenses. So if you've got Ansys licenses today, you just bring those into the platform. Super simple. So this is our slide showing what's supported from the Ansys application portfolio. We have Fluent, we have Mechanical, we have HFSS. We also have so much more available in the Ansys application libraries for you to pull into your workflows in just a few clicks. So if you're interested and you'd like to learn more, you can come speak to us. Or you can also check out our website, look up Ansys Gateway. It will show you how you can get access to this platform. For one, you don't get this platform from Ansys, you get this platform from AWS, because this is a marketplace offering. So it's our first platform, our first piece of software, our first tool you don't come to Ansys for. You just use your existing AWS agreement to bring this platform in. And here it is. So on the AWS Marketplace, search for Ansys Gateway. If you hit subscribe, that's when you can then start deploying this platform. And like I said, there's no cost to do that. It's fully pay-as-you-go, so you only pay it as you use it. We have a team of experts at Ansys who can help you. If you want more information, you want to know how to deploy it, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help. And here's a QR code if you would like to come and talk to us. So with that, thank you very much.